was up early the next morning and on the road again. But that was okay, because this time I was headed to Utah and Zion National Park. This here is in that little 40-mile spot I drive through in Arizona. It makes me feel good because I know I'm getting close to my destination. There's a sign I was looking for. But wait a second, something looks a little bit different from the last time I was here. It didn't take too long after that, and I was entering Zion National Park. What with its popularity, the only way you can get into Zion Canyon for most of the year is by shuttle. If you must use the shuttle, I highly recommend that you go online and get tickets for it early. Don't worry, the shuttle's cheap. It only cost me $1 to use it for the day. The first several shuttle stops were closed, mainly due to the coronavirus, so I rode the bus all the way to Zion Lodge. This is the view from in front of the Zion Lodge shuttle stop. I wasn't really interested in any of the hikes at that stop, so I decided just to hike to the next one, the grotto, which was only 0.8 of a mile away. Here's some of the scenery alongside the road, hiking to the shuttle stop at the grotto. Finally, I made it to the grotto shuttle stop. There are several hikes out of this stop, the most popular being Angel's Landing. Here's a picture of Angel's Landing, and here is the footbridge that leads to the start of the trail. And this is the view looking in the opposite direction. You really are surrounded by beauty in Zion National Park. Here's a couple of hikers starting off on Angel's Landing Trail. Angel's Landing is a grueling 5-mile hike to the top of the peak. The trail is not for faint of heart or those afraid of heights. Here are a few pictures that I pulled off the internet at the top of the hike. There are chains bolted into the rock to help you along the trail. I decided not to go on the trail. There were a lot of people going on it, my time was limited, and my sore knees pretty much canceled out the hike. And besides, I'd already been up to the top twice before.
No brag, just fact.
Oh yeah, and there was one more reason not to go up it. After that, I hopped back on the shuttle and headed towards the end of Zion Canyon. That's Angel's Landing that I'm looking at through the window. A short 3.5-mile drive got me to my destination, the Temple of Cinewava. Here's a shot of my shuttle bus, and this is a look at the towering rock walls at the Temple of Cinewava. At the end of Temple of Cinewava, the mile-long Riverwalk Trail, right down that narrow canyon in the picture, leads you to the world-famous Narrows Trail. Here are some pictures I pulled off the internet of the Narrows Trail. Unfortunately, I didn't go on the trail. Recently, scientists had studied the water in the river and found a nasty bacteria in it, warning people not to drink the water or even go in it.
Radium will glow. I've never seen anything like that before.
Since I couldn't go to the Narrows Trail, I decided to hike the 3.5 miles back to the grotto shuttle stop. This is looking back to the Temple of Cinewava. There's a trail on the Virgin River. I'd have hated to have been under that when those rocks fell out. Hiking alongside the road now. After hiking almost 1.5 miles, I came to the next shuttle stop, Big Bend. This is at the Big Bend shuttle stop. One thing I noticed about being in the canyon in Zion National Park, you spend so much time looking up that it's really easy to get a crick in your neck. Or maybe your back. Looking up at Observation Point, there's the road I just hiked up from. That's Observation Point. And I must be getting pretty close to the Grotto shuttle stop, because that's Angel's Landing. Finally back to the visitor center, and here's a shot of the formation called the Watchman. On the way back to the motel, I stopped off at the River Rock Roasting Company to get a bite to eat to go. Here's a sign on the restaurant. That was more than enough to make me mind my own business. The next morning I fortified myself with some extra coffee. I knew I had another busy day ahead of me. I wouldn't be going into Zion Canyon today, so I wouldn't be needing a shuttle pass. Instead, I was going to drive on the Zion Mount Carmel Highway to the Canyon Overlook Trail. The road to the Canyon Overlook Trail has more twists and turns than a Texas rattlesnake. A great road to drive, plus there are plenty of turnouts to admire the scenery. On the way to the trailhead, you'll pass through a mile-long tunnel carved right out of the rock. Almost immediately after exiting the tunnel, you come to the parking for the Canyon Overlook Trail. And here's a little swing to the left just to see what the scenery looks like there. Although not as dangerous as the Angel's Landing Trail, the Canyon Overlook Trail does have its moments. Thank goodness for the guardrails. But if you have kids, I'd keep an eye on them. In some spots, it's a long drop. Here I am on the trail under a large overhang. A nice cool spot out from under the sun. But not so cool if an earthquake should hit. It's not like California, but they do get an occasional earthquake in Utah. Here's some of the scenery along the trail. And finally, the view at the end of the Canyon Overlook Trail. Definitely worth the hike. This is a view looking down at the road that leads up to the trailhead for the Canyon Overlook Trail. I'm not sure how far down that is. Let's just say it's a hell of a long ways. I've started on my way back to the trailhead. Some spots of the trail get pretty narrow when you meet another hiker. After I got back to my car, I decided to do something different. I decided to go to a rarely visited part of Zion National Park, the Kolob Terrace. Here's where I just came from. Here's where I spent most of yesterday, and here's where I was planning to go on today. Here I am at the entrance to the Kolob Terrace. Some of the scenery on the drive in the Kolob Terrace. I drove as far as Lava Point and went on a short hike. This is the view looking down the Zion Canyon area. I was at a high enough altitude here that the trees were changing color. Some of the scenery alongside the road on the way back. I had such a good sandwich last night at the River Rock Roasting Company that I stopped by there again for a sandwich on the way back to my motel. After eating dinner, okay, I admit I worked up an appetite. I got things ready for tomorrow and went to bed. I probably sound like a broken record, but it had been a long day and looked like another long one for tomorrow.